Welcome brothers, I'm JK Mazy, head coach and founder of the Porn Reboot system. If you enjoy our videos and you find them helpful, please support the channel by liking this video, commenting and subscribing. And when you subscribe, please make sure you click on the little bell icon so that you can receive notifications each time we release a video. Now we release videos 4 times a week, every single week. Back to the topic of today. So, often men believe that there is a root cause to their porn addiction, and I understand that it is a comforting thought. The idea that there is some sort of original trauma, some sort of original pain, some very strong emotion which led to your current acting out behavior, to your current sexually compulsive behavior. In the YouTube app, go to notifications and turn on subscriptions. In the settings, go to notifications and scroll to the YouTube app and allow notifications. I feel that this is an idea, a therapeutic psychological idea, which has been perpetuated perhaps a little bit more than it should. In fact, I believe it's hurting men now. It's comforting to believe that deep down within you, at the root, so to speak, there is something where if you, hypothetically speaking, were to deal with it or handle it or become aware of it, because it's at the root, it implies that everything else, every other problem you have would disappear. And the thing you were using to medicate those problems would, by definition, disappear with them. Because what happens when you poison the root of a tree, of a plant, or you cut it off from the root? We have all these words which imply that the entire tree, the thing that was built up, gets destroyed. But that is not often the case. I want to make it clear that it's not that I don't believe in the root cause. I do believe that there are many men who are medicating something which happened to them in the past, some form of abandonment or neglect or physical, mental, spiritual, sexual abuse of some sort. But for the vast majority of men, this is not the case, at least not in my decade-long experience helping men end their out-of-control behavior with pornography and masturbation. So today I'm just going to share my take on the issue. Please have an open mind, and I'm very open to having a lot more dialogue in the comment section below. Now, here's what I've seen in most men, more often than not. Each time you experience a very strong emotion and you do not have the coping strategies to deal with it, and you are also simultaneously not aware of it, or you choose to ignore it or distract yourself from it, what happens is that that strong emotion generates pain, which is then suppressed. Think of it as baking a cake, or baking bread rather. You've got to create dough. So think of it as taking a piece of dough that you're going to use to make that loaf of bread, and then taking it and adding it to another piece of dough and pushing it in. So what happens is that you have created an initial habit of taking strong emotions and the pain that comes with it and suppressing it, adding it to dough. So there was this original piece of dough. Now you experience a strong emotion, a message is sent to your brain, and the next time you experience another strong emotion, instead of dealing with it, you ignore it, or you choose not to be aware of it. You take it, you add it to that dough, and you suppress it. So that's what suppressing becomes. Suppressing becomes taking the pain, adding it to that ball of dough, and you keep putting it there. So what happens is that you end up multiplying that original ball of dough into something that becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. But that's not where it ends. You are also experiencing other emotions through your life. As you get older, you experience rejection. Maybe when it comes to dating, you experience insecurity, you experience guilt, you experience different things. But now you have formed a habit of suppressing, not all of them, but most of them. And so you keep adding to that. But understand that each time you view pornography to medicate pain, not only do you add to that big ball of dough, other negative emotions are reinforced by doing this. And not only do they get reinforced by the specific type of pornography that you are watching. Now, on the surface, it seems as if you're just watching pornography. You're just enjoying it. You're jerking off to it. You're just like, hey, this is normal human behavior. This is just my fantasy. This is what I do. But what you may not be aware of is that you started off watching a certain type of pornography. Now, your brain is wired to enjoy novelty, but originally it was a specific type of pornography that you use to medicate a certain issue. On the surface, you're innocently watching it and your brain is rewiring itself. Below the surface, subconsciously, what happens is each time you view a genre of pornography which was originally viewed in order to medicate a specific emotion, you reinforce that negative emotion within yourself. You reinforce that coping strategy of that specific type of pornography. The interesting thing is, while you're doing this, here's the insidious thing about pornography. Pornography also leads to you generating new types of negative emotions. Here are a few examples. You generate insecurity. So you get worried about your penis size, your ability to last long in bed. You generate insecurity about the type of women that you're able to get with. That's an emotion which is created over time. Another emotion that you create, which is a negative emotion, could be confusion. So you're confused about whether you love your partner, or what the nature of women is like, or what women actually like, or whether the partner that you're with is the right person for you, whether the grass is greener on the other side. You start comparing the body of your current partner that you're committed to with the body of somebody else, wondering, oh, she's not taking care of herself. She pulled she pulled the pin on the fat grenade when she had her kid, or when she got married, or whatever the case may be. So you get confused about intimacy in your life. You generate anger when you view something like violent pornography. You generate guilt when you view something like non-consensual or rape-themed pornography. Now, you might be listening to this and on the surface you're going, no, JK, that's not what happens. That's a fantasy. That's a fetish. That's something that we enjoy as human beings. You've talked about fantasy before, JK. Yes, we do have all those fantasies, but I want you to understand what is happening when you're using pornography to medicate pain in your life. Now, you're jerking off to it. You're like, oh yeah, whatever, hit her. You're responding physically to whatever is happening there. But below the surface, there is a corresponding emotion which is being medicated, or which is being created. And while your brain is doing its thing of engaging in novelty and getting you used to and getting you conditioned to new forms of pornography and new genres, that emotion is still there. And one of the ways that you discover this is the moment you orgasm, and the moment that neurochemical reaction of your relapse cycle is over, you immediately experience one of those emotions. Now, the emotion is not going to be directed at somebody in pornography, because none of that is real. In most cases, that emotion is redirected towards you. So, you become angry at yourself. You experience self-loathing and self-hate, because in many cases, anger was the thing below you watching that violent pornography. You experience guilt when you view something which is non-consensual or which is rape-themed. A few minutes ago, you were jerking off to it. Oh, that was so hot, that was rough, that was non-consensual, all those things. Right after that, you experience guilt. Even if it's for a small moment. I've talked about guys who are high remorse and guys who are low remorse guys. It doesn't matter, you still experience that emotion. Sometimes you experience shame because you watch something that was not in tune with your sexual values. Maybe you identify as a straight man, but you view transgender pornography, right? So now you experience shame. So that emotion comes up. This is often what happens with many men. It is about taking certain emotions, not having coping strategies, not dealing with it, choosing not to be aware of it, and then adding the pain to those suppressed emotions over and over again, while simultaneously creating and nurturing new negative emotions as you view pornography. So this is something that is all happening below the surface, and the only reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to be aware that there's a lot more going on when you view pornography. And for those of you who believe in a root cause, there's nothing wrong with believing in a root cause, but I'd love for you to be open-minded and consider the possibility that what you consider to be a root cause is actually a conglomeration of all these different emotions that you've been experiencing. Then you go and you sit down with a therapist who perhaps finds the root cause. Maybe you do have a root cause. Maybe you sit down with a very talented therapist and he or she goes through all the dough. They go through all that dough that's been suppressed. They have a very sharp knife and they cut through all of it, and they find a root cause that was unrelated to your out of control behavior, but it is still painful. It is still emotion and pain nonetheless. They find it, you experience it, and suddenly you just, oh my God, that is such a strong pain. It must be the thing that I've been medicating. How do you know it's the thing that you've been medicating? How do you know that? And what happens to all the dough? Does the dough melt away? Right? You were abused as a child. Let's say, for instance, you were sexually abused. What does that have to do with the rejection that you experienced when you were 16 years old? What does that have to do with your divorce? What does it have to do with the loss of a loved one? What is the connection? Right? All those things were things that you also medicated with pornography. Do they just disappear? No. At best, you gain a new realization of pain and how it works by dealing with their root cause. We're not even talking about the skill set it takes to deal with all these different emotions, because you've still got to learn all those skills, right? We're just talking about all the different emotions that have been built up. Right, so enough said about the topic, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section. Take care. Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to get a copy of the free book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. You'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I've learned over a decade, as well as strategies for putting together your porn reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video. The third way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, guys who work in sales, consulting, or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join in the description below this video. And finally, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, you want to be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, click on the link in the description below this video that says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.